Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a brand new lesson for you today on how to draw the counterweight, which is the second orthographic drawing problem from the file name of the same type. So I'm already in the AutoCAD orthographic view drawing files for downloads module, and I'm just going to be clicking on this one here, orthographic drawing problems, and we're going to take a look at the next problem. So we've learned how to draw the control bearing. We're going to be coming down and taking a look at how to draw the counterweight. Now, very similar to the control bearing, just a little more complicated. But all of the knowledge and skills that we've learned so far are going to be used in the creation of this drawing. So like before, we're creating a top, front, and right side view. A view looking down from the top, a view looking at it from the front, and a view looking at it from the right side. This left side of the counterweight is not extremely clear to us, so we have to take a look at it and examine it before we begin. I can see that there is a slot here, an empty space, and it looks like it runs all the way from the front all the way to the back through the width. I can see here that it looks like it passes through by examining this area right here. So that's a clue that kind of lets me know, okay, I'm going to be making that space totally open. The next thing is there's a slot sitting right on top. And it's not very clear how deep it goes. If it just stops at the top of this flange, it's not clear at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that that space passes all the way through, all the way from the top, and goes all the way through to the bottom. So that's my interpretation of it, and that's how I want you to complete all yours. So like I've mentioned before, this sheet is for reference. I have this open on my iPad next to me as well. I won't be toggling back and forth between this view on my computer and the AutoCAD drawing. I like to basically just draw the part in an uninterrupted way, and that's how I want you to do yours. I want you to have this open on your iPad, and I want you to create the drawing as a reference from your own device, right? Don't use the video to help you complete it, because it takes away a lot of the critical thinking that you may experience. All right, so to get started, I'm going to head back with this arrow, and I'm going to click Counterweight DWG file. And we're going to download this and open it up. Okay, so here's the counterweight. So as I've told you before, you have to go up to File, which is the big A, go to Save As, and then take these things out of Downloads. Well, these are just the empty downloads from previous, but you actually want to scroll to where you're saving these things. Save it in a designated folder. So in my case, semester 2, my AutoCAD drawings, there are my first 4. I'm just going to take the 2 out of here because I downloaded a couple of times earlier, and I'm just going to call it Counterweight, hit save. Okay, so now I know my drawing isn't going to accidentally delete itself. I'm good to go and to begin. So, as you've learned before, the first thing I should make sure of before I get started is that ortho is on. And if I look at my status bar here, it looks like ortho is on. It's shaded in blue, that light blue color, so that is already ready to go. And I'm going to start with the line command. And I'm going to start by drawing the front view. So I'm going to grab the line, zoom in with my wheel, left click this endpoint, and pull the mouse up and start keying in my distances. Well, I have to examine the drawing. So the drawing's telling me that I need to go 10 millimeters vertically to start. I need to come over 12 millimeters. I'm just going to pan down a bit with my mouse. I'm going to come up. The next value listed is 27.5. Enter. And I can touch this endpoint but not click and create an O track. So there's my 12 millimeters. Again, that's optional. I like to do that from time to time. I'm going to be coming up again 10 millimeters. And this line is going to end at a distance of 70 according to my iPad image. So I'm going to type 70, enter. All right, at this stage, that's about all I can do, I feel, at this time in this particular area. So I'm going to right-click my mouse, left-click enter to end the command. I'm still going to continue on with the front view. So I'm going to right-click my mouse, left-click, repeat line. Go back to my origin, start at the exact same endpoint I've done already, left-click. So now I'm going to draw the total length of the counterweight. And it doesn't give me an overall dimension. It gives me the value. I know the value of this line here is 70, and then it also tells me that the rest of the length is 62. So I have to add those two numbers together to know my length. So 70 plus 62 is going to give me 132. So 132, enter. And now I'm going to come up vertically. The next value is 21. And now this is really easy. I don't need to key in a distance. I don't need to take ortho off. I don't need to turn on polar. I can just come up here, find that endpoint, and click. And that's going to create the line, the perfect length on the perfect angle I require it. And I can right-click, left-click, enter to end the command. Now again, why does that work? Because snapping with O snaps, such as endpoint, will override the ortho command, and it will force a line on an angle, even if you have the ortho mode on. So again, polar wasn't even used to create that line. And that is how our front view looks, according to our iPad image. Now, it requires some hidden lines as well, but we're not going to worry about those quite yet. At this time, I'm going to move on to the top view. Going to be right-clicking, left-clicking, repeat line. Go to the origin, find the endpoint, always our usual starting position, and we're drawing a line vertically at 16 value. Hit enter, come over to the right, and the horizontal distance, according to the image, is 26. Coming up vertically. Now, it doesn't actually tell us the height of this line by looking at the image on the iPad. So, just to show what I'm talking about, I am going to reference this once more. And as I was talking about earlier, right, here's a 70, here's a 62. We had to add those numbers together. There is the 21 height. Now, we know that this is 16 long millimeters. We know that this line is 26 millimeters. We don't know how long this line is, but we know that this is also 16. And we know that the width is 54. So all I need to do is subtract 16 from 54 twice, and that math is going to give me the length of that line. All right, so it's up to you how you want to do it. You could do it in your head. You could do it in a calculator. The easiest way for me to do this would be to add these two numbers up, 16 and 16. That's 32. And then subtract 32 from 54. Right? So I'll do it in a group of 10. So 54 minus 10 three times is 44, 34, 24. And then subtract the last group of 2 would make it 22. So that's what you should get if you put it in a calculator. I like to do, this is a skill that my math teacher in grade 5 taught me. You know, it's just how I see it in my head. I like to subtract in groups. So, coming up, we know that this is now 22. We know that this line is 26. And we know that this line, again, is 16. I can key in 70, or I can just touch the endpoint and then create that O track, as you can see, and it previews a 70. I'm going to come down, touch with this endpoint, and then create another O track for my 54, and then just type C, enter to close. And that's going to automatically exit me from the line command as well. So these are all these commands I'm using today. This is nothing new. All these commands you've been shown in previous drawings. All right, so moving on. We need to complete the top view of the counterweight. But I don't want to start a line here at this endpoint and make a new one and track it to here. I want to keep all my lines essentially one line. I don't want to break them up into 2 or more. And as you can see, if I flash my cursor on these, the whole line highlights. And this is better practice. This is the preferred way of doing things, is to not have a bunch of lines all together. Right? For example, if I draw a line here, doesn't matter how long it is, and then I repeat a line here, and maybe I'll do it again. That all looks like one continuous line. But if I flash my cursor over it, you can see that 3 pieces of it highlight. This is not what I want. I'm just going to erase this because it's not needed. Come back, and I'm going to select this line using a grip, left click it at the node, and I'm going to pull it the rest of the way, which is 32, according to my sheet. Actually, no, sorry, it was 62. My mistake, so I'm going to do that again. Grip, type in 62. There. We're going to do the same thing below. 62. And then I can grab a line and just start here. And then continue to draw that counterweight. So, looking at my sheet, this line should be 12. And it has to come back horizontally to the left. It shows a depth of 25. Coming down vertically, the next value is 30. And then I'm going to type in 25 or track it. I track that one and then just come down here, C, enter to close. Okay, so the close didn't work, so I'm going to delete that. Just go back into my line and click endpoint to endpoint. There. So that is how the top view looks. Of course, there's some hidden detail lines missing on that, which we're gonna come to later. So the last thing that we have to do in terms of physical outline is the right side view. We know that if I look at the image, the height is 47.5 high, and we know that the width is 54. So let's grab our line tool, find the endpoint snap. Again, you could come up and track this. It says 47.5, so that proves that that is correct. Click. We're going to type 54, come down, O track, C enter to close. All right. Now there's more detail to be shown on this right side view, right? We have to be able to see this surface, and this surface. These three surfaces are seen clearly to the eye when we look at this on the right side. So we can use information from this view to help us, right? I could take a line, snap it to this endpoint, pull it to the perpendicular snap on the edge of the right side view, and what I can do is now offset the width, which is 12. So I can type 12, enter, select this line, click to the right, select this line, click to the left. Right click, left click, enter to end. And what I can do is trim off what I don't need, right? So I can select the trim. I know that this is the boundary to trim this line off, so I'll select this line, right click my mouse, left click the line I want to trim away. Right click, left click, enter to end the command. Right, I keep doing less and less on the keyboard. I try to, use my mouse to do a lot of things because it just saves time and effort, right? It's something that when you get comfortable, it's something that you can do, but if you prefer to use a lot of more keyboard strokes or going up to the toolbars, that's totally fine too. So right click, left click, repeat trim. Going to be selecting this line as a boundary, right click my mouse to activate the trim, left click this line and this line. Again, right click, left click, enter to end the command. One last line to trim, which is the middle part of this horizontal line. So this line and this line, the vertical two, are going to be the boundaries this time. So right click, left click, repeat trim. Select these two lines, right click your mouse to activate the command, and then left click what you want to trim away, which is right there. So now we see these two surfaces here and here where they need to be. We have one more here, but we don't know how high it is, right? When I look at this drawing, it doesn't tell us the height. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for us, isn't it? But there's a way to figure it out very easily. We know that that slot is 25 millimeters deep. It says it on the drawing. I can use a utility and measure it. It tells us 25. So what we could do is grab our line, again, snap a line to this endpoint and pull a line down to the perpendicular snap and trim off what we don't need, right? So in this exercise, you're probably noticing we're using other views to help us complete views that we need to do, right? We don't have all the information given to us on this sheet here. So we're forced to use other views to help us. Let's grab the trim. This line is the boundary. Left click, right click my mouse, left click trim. Now, this line here is going to be hidden. This is our first hidden line in this drawing. So we're going to select it, go up to our layer manager, and pick hidden from the list. Okay, so now this is very simple. Again, we need to use this view to help us complete the right side view. So we're going to grab a line, snap this intersection, and drag a line over to perpendicular. So now we know where the height of this surface extends upward to, which is this line right here. we now know what that is. It's something that we could never have guessed, right? I'm going to measure it. 31.6855. Of course, nobody would have gotten that. It would be impossible to guess. This is the only way to find the height. So we've got more trimming to do. Trim. And what I can do here is take this line and use a grip, bring it up to this perpendicular snap, pick this line, grip it up to this perpendicular snap, and you know, it's clunky for me to end commands not being able to use escape. And we're going to trim again. We're going to trim these lines. These are our boundaries. Right click, left click, and there we have it. So that is what this looks like on the right side view, right? This surface here is the angular surface here, and then we see 1, 2, 3 flat vertical surfaces here. But we're still not done. We have to complete all of the hidden detail lines that we still have not done yet. So this slot that passes through from top to bottom, its hollowed out section needs to be represented here on the front view, the same as what we've done here and here. Let's grab the line, click endpoint, and draw a line down to this perpendicular snap. Select it, make it hidden, and then trim. I'm going to commentate less and less on trim because I've done it so much in this video. So there are the hidden detail lines completed for the front view. We also have hidden lines that we have to show from the top view. We have to represent this slot, the opposite effect, and its hidden lines that project upward to the top view. So we'll select line, find this endpoint, and click all the way up to perpendicular, right click, left click, enter, select this line and select hidden and trim. And then we'll do that again. We'll right click, left click, trim, select this line and trim that one away. And then we have the right side view to do. So how this works, I'm just going to refresh my iPad because my screen dimmed out on me. The only thing that we're going to notice in hidden detail for the right side view are the four corners in the rear, right? Which is right here, 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth, which you can't see in this image. And then there's dead space or hollowness passing through 2 slots. This one can be a little tricky to understand. So we're going to grab the line. We're going to draw a line from this endpoint, come over to perpendicular, right click, left click, repeat line, do the same thing again. And we're going to make these hidden lines. And then trim them. to avoid confusion. Okay. Last thing. We know that this is 12 millimeters. No, sorry, 10 millimeters, my mistake. The same as what we would measure here. But we can't project anything over for the width. So we have to actually measure this, right? And we can measure it. It should say 16. All right, so we're going to come back over here. Offset, we're going to key in 16 as our value. We're going to offset this line to the right, this line to the left. Select them. Make them hidden. And then the last thing we have to do with this is just trim what we don't need. And that's everything that sits outside of these 4 rectangles in all 4 corners. Right? There can't be hidden lines passing through dead space. Right? If 2 slots are passing through one another vertically and horizontally, there's no hidden lines there because there's nothing there. It's just empty space. So we're going to trim. We can select these lines as our boundaries, right-click our mouse, and then start trimming what we don't want, which is here and here, and here, and here. And that is it. That is the counterweight drawing, fully drawn, all 3 views orthographically with all the hidden detail lines. So, this one, like I said, this one's a little, to me, it's a little, harder to understand. Well, not for me, but I think, for you, it might be in a learning mode. So, if you need any help with this, please get a hold of me, flag me down, call me over, and I'd be happy to help give you a hand with it. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.